I'm like Hillel by the skylight. I often just stand by the door and taking a little bit of his beautiful Torah. So we'll say with that, today's daf is Vav. I know you left off on the last line, but let's just back up a little bit. Just 4 lines up from the bottom on Hamad Beis 5b, right after the period. Our shir this morning, I don't have the sheet in front of me, but our shir this morning is dedicated by Paul and Kathy Pollack. I think it's that second one there. Is that? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. By Paul and Kathy Pollack, in honor of the Yartzeit of Paul's parents, Shmuel ben Zechariah and Sarah bas Avram, Zichronam Livrach, we open under the merit of our Talmud Torah, the Neshamas have an Aliyah, and the family in Nechama. We'll say, so with that, let's begin. Rabbi Yossi Aglili, Hi Peter Chamar, my after. So we'll say, what does Rabbi Yossi Aglili do with the repetition of Peter Chamar? So, he requires it for the following. Rabbi Yossi Aglili Omer Mitoch Shnei Amar, Ach pado tifta es bechara adam ve'es bechar habehema tamea tifta shamea ani afilu pitrei susim v'gimalim. So we'll say the fact that the pasuk goes ahead and makes reference to the idea that you have to go ahead and redeem Peter Bechar Behema. So I would have thought that ultimately, again, that includes all types of animals. So the Gemara says, Afilu Pitrei Susim Ugimalim. I would have thought, why is it limited to Peter Chamar? Perhaps it goes ahead and includes the firstborn of all types of non-kosher animals, even Susim and Chamorim. Talmud Lomar Peter Chamar. Therefore, the pasuk goes out of its way to explicitly mention Peter Chamar. Peter Chamar Marti Lacha V'lo Pitrei Susim Ugimalim. To teach that halacha l'maisa, the obligation to redeem a firstborn non-kosher animal is dafka only by a chamor and not by other behemoths. But still I could say to myself, Pitrei chamar b'seh, Pitrei susim u'gemalim b'chol davar. Maybe when the Torah singles out Peter chamar, that's to tell me that Peter chamar has to be redeemed with the seh, with the sheep. But perhaps, again, when it comes to susim and gemalim, horses and camels, there's an obligation of redemption, but what? There's no limitation on redemption. There's an obligation to redeem them, but whereas by the chamor, I'm limited to redeeming it with the seh, by susim and gemalim, I could redeem them with whatever types of animals I want. B'chol davar, top of Vav and Aleph, Talmud Lomar, Peter chamar, shnei pa'amim. Therefore, I will say the pasuk goes out of its way to mention Peter chamar twice to teach me 2 halachas. So the Gemara says, shnei pa'amim. Pitrei chamar marti lecha v'lo pitrei susim ugimalim. I will say the dafka teach me that the halacha of Peter chamar is dafka a din by chamar and not by susim and gimalim. So we'll say this is the Josh of Rabbi Yossi Haglili, that ultimately the Torah repeats Peter chamar twice to teach me that halacha l'maisi, the obligation to redeem a chamar, is something limited to a chamar and this cannot be learned out from a chamar to other non-kosher animals. Parach Ravachai raised the kasha, ikas of Rachmana chad. So if the Torah would have just had written 1 Peter chamar, then what? Hava amina davar shaya bechlal v'yatsa min haklal. So something that was included in the general statement of kol behema, and then was specifically singled out, meaning by Peter chamar, lilamed. Lo lelamed al atzmo yatsa. It didn't come to go ahead and only teach regarding itself. Ela lelamed al haklal kulo yatsa. Rather, it came to teach about the general klal, i.e., all the behemoths, uli olam beseh. And I would have thought that halacha l'maisa, maybe again it comes to teach me that all non-kosher firstborn animals are also redeemed with a seh. Therefore, kasav rachmana peter chamar achrina. Therefore, the Torah goes out of its way and recites or restates peter chamar a second time to teach me what? Pitrei chamorim v'lo pitrei susim ugimalim. So therefore, this is actually very interesting. Had it just said peter chamar once, I would have thought that maybe again chamar was included in kol behema. The fact that the Torah singles out Peter chamar is to teach me that halacha l'maisa, all firstborn animals require redemption with a seh. Therefore, the Torah mentions Peter chamar twice to teach me that what? No, this is an exclusion. Peter chamar or pitrei chamorim v'lo pitrei susim v'gamalim. So the additional statement of Peter chamar comes to teach me that halacha l'maisa, it is only a Peter chamar which is redeemed, but not the firstborn of Susim and Gimalim. I ve'ema me'atinu miseh uli olam b'chol davar. Well, maybe not. Maybe when the Torah specifically mentions Petach Hamar even a second time, it's coming to teach me what? It's Dafka Petach Hamar, which requires redemption with a seh. All other firstborn non-kosher animals also require redemption. Just what? Not with a seh. Imkain, redeem them with anything you want. Imkain lichtov rachmana Petach Hamar tifte b'seh. V'chamar tifte b'seh. So we'll say if that's the case, then what? Let the Torah just state Petach Hamar tifte b'seh, and then it's a v'chamar tifte b'seh. Petach Hamar tifte b'seh. Petach Hamar tifte b'seh lamli. So we'll say what's interesting is as follows. There are two mentionings of the donkey. If that's the case, that the Torah is just coming to teach me that halacha l'maisa, a donkey is unique in that it requires pidyon b'seh, but not unique in that all other firstborn non-kosher animals require pidyon as well, then why the need to write peter by both instances of chamar? If that's the case, just go ahead and write one time peter chamar tifte b'seh, and then the second time you can leave out the peter and just say chamar tifte b'seh. Peter chamar tifte b'seh lamali, to teach me pitrei chamar amarti l'cha v'lo pitrei susim u'gemal. Both say the fact that the Torah goes out of its way to restate peter by chamar twice teaches me that what? It is dafka the chamar. So both say, teach me what? It's not just that it's dafka the chamar that is redeemed with the seh, and everything else could just be redeemed however you want to redeem it, but rather it's to teach you something much more specific, which is, it is only the chamar which is redeemed altogether. The other non-kosher animals are not redeemed at all. Vitana didan, and Abba say our Tana, lemi'ute susim ugimalim minale. So Abba say, so again, according to Rabbi Yossi Haglili, so he understands the double lashon of Petach Hamar, to teach me the miut of Dafka Hamar and nothing else. Where does our Tana learn the exclusion for susim and gumalim? Amra Papa, they learn out from the pasuk of Kol Miknicha Tizacher Peter Shar Vaseh. So Amar Papa Kol Miknecha Tizacher Klal. So we'll say the Kol Miknecha, your entire flock. So that is a Klal. Shar Vaseh V'chamar Prat. Klal uprat. So we'll say whenever you have a Klal uprat, how do you dash in it? Ein bichlal elamash shebeprat. We'll say the Klal is only the way you define what is included in the Klal is by looking at the prat. Shar Vaseh V'chamar in. So I'll say from there I see what's included in the prat. Shar, se, and chamar. Those are included in the mitzvah of pidyon. Midi achrina lo. Ultimately, other types of animals are not included. Rabbi Yossi Halili will say. So we'll say therefore again a very simple klalu prat, right? Very simple klalu prat to teach me that it's dafka shar, se, and chamar that are included in the mitzvah of pidyon and nothing else. So we'll say, why doesn't Rabbi Yossi Halili just make this drasha as well? It seems to be so much simpler. So Rabbi Yossi Halili will say, here's the problem. Peter hifseka inyan. So we'll say, according to Rabbi Yossi Halili, here's the problem. The problem is, it says, Kol Peter rechem li v'chol miknecha tizacher Peter shar vaseh. So we'll say, ultimately again, then it says, upeter chamar again. The Torah uses an extra peter. That peter disrupts the flow between what? Between shar, seh, and chamar. See, the pasuk doesn't say shar seh chamar. The pasuk says shar vaseh and then peter chamar. So Rabbi Yosef Lili will say that extra peter, right? That extra peter goes in and disrupts the flow of the pasuk. The Rabbanan will say vav hadar arvi. We'll say, interestingly enough, the Rabbanan will say that the flow of the pasuk is as such. It says u peter chamar. That vav comes to link chamar to the shar and seh in front of it. So Rabbi Yosef Lili, Rabbanan vav hadar arvi. Kra. Rabbi Yosef Lili lo lichtov vav for lo peter. Rabbi Yosef Lili says, well, I have a better idea. Just leave out the vav and leave out peter, and the pasuk would flow fine. The Rabbanan will say no. You do need the pasuk to break up between shar and seh and chamar. Why? Aidi daha kidushas damim, v'ha kidushas haguf pasuk lehu. The Rabbi say, because remember, according to the Rabbanan, you can't mention shar and seh and chamar in the same sentence. Why not? Because they have different kiddushos. See, Rabbi say the bechar of a shar and seh has kiddushas haguf, has physical sanctity. The chamar only has monetary sanctity. As such, you do have to split them up Therefore, the Torah splits them up with the inclusion of the extra pater in between shor and se and chamar. And then what does Torah Kedusha do? Something beautiful. Then it groups them together again, ultimately again through the vav. V'hadi arev luhu. Then it goes back. And ultimately goes ahead and links them together. Ibailuhu. So as I said, the Gemara asks another kasha. So Ibailuhu. Para sheyalda min chamar v'yesh bo miktsas simonim mahu. So we'll say another shayla. What happens if halacha l'maisa, you have a par that went ahead and gave birth to a min chamar. So also I say I have a kosher, right? A par that is giving birth to a chamar. V'yesh bo miktsas simonim. The Rabbi say, and it has some of the simonim of what? So if you look at the Rabbeinu Gershom for just a moment over here on the side, Rabbeinu Gershom says, v'yesh bo miktsas simonim shedome lepara. So I'll say, so now what's interesting in this case is as follows. I have a par that gave birth to a chamar, and ultimately again, but the offspring has some of the simanim ultimately of a par. Okay, see what's happening? We're say mother is a par, gives birth to an offspring that looks like a chamar, non-kosher animal, but the animal still resembles a par. So what's the halacha? Mahu. Obviously, what are we talking about over here? We're talking about that this offspring is a firstborn, it's a bechor. So we're asking over here is what's its status? Mau, or is sheyalda min Rachel. So we'll say, or now these cases are easy. If you have an A's that gave birth to something that looks like a Rachel, or Rachel sheyalda min A's. So we'll say, so in these cases over here, then we'll say in this case, when the offspring resembles the mother, in the A's and Rachel case, that's easy. The ha tahora v'ha tahora, ha kidushas hagov v'ha kidushas hagov. So we'll say, when you have an A's and a Rachel, which are all in the same mishpacha, right? The goat, sheep family. That's all easy. Why? First of all, they're all kosher animals, right? That's number one. Number two, they all have kidushas haguf, right? They all have physical sanctity for the bechora. So I'll say, so that case is easy. The question over here, I'll say, is a bit more complicated, because here I have a cow giving birth to something that looks like what? Something that looks like a chamar, right? But it still resembles the cow. So mahu, what's the halacha? Hacha, da'atmei of Torah. Here I will say the mother is a cow, it's Torah. The offspring looks like a donkey, which is a behemoth tmeah. Ha kidushas hagov, ha kidushas damim. Furthermore, there's another issue. A cow has physical sanctity. A chamar only has what? Financial sanctity. So the Gemara says, so we'll say, do we say that since again they're too dissimilar, then therefore again this chamar offspring does not have kidushas damim? Oh, Dilma. Kevan di v'edi b'nei mikdash b'bechora kadosh. Or maybe we'll say what? Since they both have the capacity for sanctity, so indeed this offspring will be kadosh. Vimtim salomar. And if you want to say Kevan di v'edi b'nei mikdash b'bechora kadosh, and maybe you'll say no. Even in this case, I will say since they're both shaykh to bechora. In other words, even though halacha l'maisa, this cow is giving birth to something that looks like a chamar. And even though, again, the cow, a cow, has physical sanctity versus a chamar which only has financial sanctity. But since they're both shaykh to kedushas bechor, maybe it should be good enough. What about the reverse case, or a different case? Chamar sheyalda min sus mahu. We'll say, what happens if a chamar gives birth to something that resembles a sus? Now, what's the halacha in this case? Hacha Vaday lav bas mikdash b'bechoru. So we'll say a sus has no shaykhus to a bechora. Right, no shaykhus till chos bechor. So therefore, maybe even when a donkey gives birth to a sus, ultimately again this animal has no sanctity. O dilma kevan dimin temeyahu kadosh. Or do we see Rabbi say that since ultimately this is a non-kosher species born to a chamar, and the chamar itself is shaykh to bechora, therefore the offspring of the bechora of the chamar is also shaykh to bechora. And imtim salomar kevan de mintamehu kadosh. And if you want to say ultimately again, since it's a mintamea, since ultimately again it's the offspring of a chamar, it is shaykh to kedusha. What about the following case? Para sheyalda min sus mahu. What happens, I will say, if ultimately the para gives birth to something which resembles a sus? Mau. Hacha, vandai ha Torah, the hatameya. So what we see over here, that certainly in this case, this is a tahora and this is a tameya. Habas mikdash bebechora, the although a par has shaykhus ultimately to bechora, ultimately again a sus does not. Odilma simanin milsahi. Or do I say, as long as in some way the offspring resembles the mother, we are good to go. So we'll say, so that you hear this tension. So the tension over here is, and this is really what it all comes down to. Do we say as long as the offspring in some way resembles the mother, therefore again the offspring will share the status of the mother? Or do we say no, that if the offspring at the end of the day is of a different min, then Kedushas Bechor does not devolve upon it. Now we're going to see this whole discussion is a bit academic in just a few lines. Tashma, Behema Tahora, Sheyalda min Behema Tameya. So I say, so what do we learn? We learn that if a Behema Tahora gives birth to a Behema Tameya, or something that resembles, so we'll say, obviously in this case over here, what's happening over here is the kosher animal is giving birth to something that resembles a non-kosher animal. So what's the halacha? Petura min ha-bechora. Ultimately, again, the offspring is pater from bechor. Im yesh bo miktsas simanim chayeves bebechora. But what? If the offspring resembles the kosher mother in some way, then what's the halacha? It is chayev in bechora. My love, is this not referring to even a case afilu para sheyalda min sus? But say, is this not saying over here that even if the cow give birth to something that looks like a sus, as long as the sus what? As long as the sus what? Resembles the mother in some way, it should be chayeves bebechora. To which the one says, no. That's the case of para sheyalda min achamar. But say that's the case of a cow that gives birth to a chamar. And the Bryce is telling me that's what. See, both say in the case of a par that resembles in the case of the par that gives birth, that resembles the chamar. So what are we saying? As long as the chamar resembles the mother in some way, it has kedushas bechor. Why? You have two things going for it. What are the two things going for it? Number one, three things going for it. Number one, its mother is a para. Number two, it resembles, and number three, it's a chamor. So it's of the same min, ultimately, again, that is shaykh to Kedushas Bechor. But it's quite possible that if a para gives birth to something that resembles a sus, because even though, number one, its mother is a para, even though, number two, it might resemble a para, because it is a min that has no shaykhus, ultimately, to Kedushas Bechor, it doesn't have Kedushas Bechor. So let's analyze this. Tashma, para sheyalda min achamar. So we'll say this is a reverse case. You have a para that is yolda min chamar. So we'll say, I have a chamar that gives birth to something that resembles a para. V'chamar sheyolda min asus, or for that matter, a sus, a horse that gives birth to something that resembles a para. So ptura min ha-bechoros. We'll say in these cases, the animal ultimately again is pater from bechor. Im yesh miktsas simanim chayavim bebechora. There was interestingly enough, if halacha l'maaseh has miktsas simanim, it is chayavis bebechora. Then I both say, my love atarvayo. Does that last statement not go back on both cases? And I both say, if that's the case, that's an incredible novelty. Because what is it saying over here? This is a case ultimately again of, you have two cases over here. Para, that a chamar that gave birth, right, from a chamar that gave birth, something that resembled the para, and a sus, right, that gave birth. Right, I'm sorry, I reversed that. Par shalda min chamar, and chamar shialda min. So right, there's a par that gave birth to something that resembles a chamar, and a chamar that gave birth to something that resembles a sus. So it's betura min ha-bechora. However, again, if halacha l'maaseh the offspring resembles the mother, it is chayeves bebechora. My love atarvayu. Is this not going on both cases? To which the Gemara says, lo, a para sheyalda min chamar. No, what it's talking about over here is the case of a para that gave birth to something that resembles a chamor. Aval chamor sheyolda min sus lemay katanila liptora. So we'll say, but ultimately again in the chamar, in the case of the chamar that gave birth to something that resembles a sus, that is pater from bechora. So the Gemara says, okay, lemay katanila pshita. We'll say, is that not obvious? Hashta Uma para shialda min chamar. But in the case of a par that gives birth to a chamar, the edi b'nei mikdash b'bechora ninhu. So we'll say here's the idea. In the case of a par that gives birth to something that resembles a chamar, that's an easier sell. Why? First of all, because as we just said, the mother is a par, right? Number two, the chamar resembles the mother. And number three, a chamar itself is something that is shaykh to Bechora. So the Gemara says, Amret im yishba mikzas simanim in vilolo chamar sheyalda min sus mi boy. So we'll say, if ultimately, again, the chamar gives birth to the type of a sus, is right, obviously that offspring is not going to be shaykh in Bechor. First wide line, it's terich. I'll tell you why. Sagadait chamina. Hasam hudi yesh la karnayim, vaha ein la karnayim, ha parsoseh stukos, vahar parsoseh klutos. So I might have thought as follows. Everything depends ultimately, again, in the case where the chamar gives birth to a sus or to a min sus, everything depends on how much the offspring resembles the mother, right? If the offspring ultimately again resembles the mother, literally again, this is where it has horns and its hooves, are not cloven, are not split. Sigmar says, Aval hacha de'idi v'idi ein la karnayim. Now we'll say in this case over here where halacha l'maisa, the offspring, both the mother and the offspring do not have horns. Idi v'idi parsaseh klutos. Both of these cases, the hooves are not cloven. So I would say, Ema chamar adam ba'amahu. Say that this is not really a horse, but rather we'll say, what is this? A reddish donkey. In other words, we'll say that it's a horse with a darker color. So I would have thought, therefore, what? It should be shaykh ultimately to Bechora. Kamash balan, that it is not. So we'll say, what seems to come out over here is as follows. So halacha l'maisa, if you have a par that gives birth ultimately to a chamar, as long as that chamar in some way resembles the par, it will be subject ultimately again to Bechora. Why? Because it shares three characteristics. Number one, it's the son of a par. Number two, it resembles the par. And number three, it's of a species that is anyway subject to Bechora. But if you have a chamar that gives birth to something that is like a sus, it appears that even in that case, halacha l'maisa, even if the offspring does in fact resemble the mother, halacha l'maisa, again, it will not be subject to Bechora. Good. Umahim ba'achila. So if remember again, the end of the Mishnah said as follows. The end of the Mishnah said that when it comes to consumption, so the Mishnah said, if you have a behemoth, so we'll say, the laws of consumption are a bit simpler. The laws of consumption as expressed by the Mishnah is, if you are the offspring of a kosher animal, then what? You are kosher. If you are the offspring of a non-kosher animal, you are not kosher. And to the point, we'll say that what? That it appears that even if the offspring does not have the simanim of a kosher animal, ultimately, again, the animal itself will still be kosher. That's what the Mishnah. I'll read to the Mishnah. So we'll say. So the Mishnah says two things. The Mishnah says, if a kosher animal births what appears to be a non-kosher animal, the animal is still kosher. If a non-kosher animal births something that appears to be a kosher animal, ultimately the animal is treif. And then the Mishnah says that klal shayotzi min atame tame, that which comes out of a tame animal is tame, that which comes out of a kosher animal is kosher. Says the Gemara, lama li lemisni shayotzi. So we'll say, here's the interesting part. Why is that last line of the Mishnah necessary? Right? Why is that last line necessary? What do I mean by that? So we'll say, so the Mishnah already said that if you have a kosher animal which gives birth to something that looks like a non-kosher animal, what's the status of the offspring? What's the status? Kosher. If you have a non-kosher animal that gives birth to something which resembles a kosher animal, what's the status of the offspring? Not kosher. Yet the Mishnah still goes on to say, Shayotze min atame tame, vayotze min atar tar. Why do I need that last principle? I already know that halakha from the Mishnah. Lamli lemisnei shayotze. Here we go. Simna ba'almuhu. We'll say ultimately again, it's just a simin. Delo techlaf lach. So I'll say ultimately that you should not get confused. Delotema zil basrei didei. Because I'll say I might have easily thought that what's the halacha? The halacha is that perhaps I should go ahead and follow the status of the actual animal itself. V'hai tar ma'al yuhu, v'hai tamei ma'al yuhu. I would thought to say that essentially when determining the kosher status of the animal, we'll say, what do I look at? I look at the animal itself. If the animal looks kosher, it is kosher. If it doesn't look kosher, it's not kosher. To which the Gemara says, Ella, so therefore what does the halacha tell me? Ella zil basar imei. Therefore the Mishnah teaches me that no, interestingly enough, the kosher status of an animal is determined by what? The mother. The mother, we look if the mother is a kosher animal, even if the offspring does not look kosher, it would still be kosher. If the mother is not kosher, even if the offspring looks kosher, it is not kosher. So Menahani Milir, Boss says that's very interesting. How do we know this? How do we know that the kashrus of the animal is determined by the mother? So the Gemara says, here we go, Tatan Rabbanon, Ach Azeh. So the pasuk says, this is what you shall not eat. Right? Even though what? These are animals you shall not eat. Even though again they have attributes of chewing their cud and having split hooves. So what does that mean? So what it's telling us is that there are animals from the chewing cud and split hoof family that you are not permitted to eat. Which animals are those? This is amazing. There are animals which have split hooves and chew their cud, yet you still can't eat it. What would be such an example? Rabbi say this would be a case of an animal which has split hooves and chews its cud, but amazingly enough, it was born to a non-kosher mother. So we'll say, so again, you have some type of mutation where what happens? Let's say again, the non-kosher animal gives birth to offspring which chews its cud and has split hooves. Nevertheless, what does the pasuk tell me? There will be some animals from amongst those that chew their cud and have split hooves that you may not eat. What is that? An animal born to a non-kosher mother. Even if that animal itself has split hooves and chews its cud, you still can't eat it. So the Gemara says, or maybe not. Maybe that's coming to teach me that what? That halacha l'maisa. Baruch Fishel, this is recording, right? Okay, I don't know why we stopped on my phone. Okay, good. So or maybe it's what? Maybe it's coming to teach me a case of Tameh that was born to a Tahar. Maybe it's coming to teach you something else. Maybe it's coming to teach you that even if the mother is Ma'alagera Umafris Parsa, that what? That halacha l'maisa, it's not good. To which the Gemara says, Umami ma'ale agera mafresei parsa. And ultimately, again, what do I learn from ma'ale agera mafresei parsa? Amud Beis, Hachi Kamar. This is what it means to say, Davar haba mi ma'ale hagera or mi mafresei parsa lo teicho. But it's come to teach you something different. That halacha l'maisa, even if the mother is ma'ale agera mafres parsa, but the offspring is not, you still can't go ahead and eat it. Talmud Lomar, Gamal Chamehu. Therefore, the pasuk says, interestingly enough, the pasuk says the Gamal, which Kima Alegera Mafris Parsa and Mafris Tamehu Lachem. So the Gemara says, Hu Tameh, it is the camel which is Tameh, Ve'in Tameh Hanolad Min HaTahar Tameh. But an animal which is Tameh, which is born ultimately again to the Tahar, but the Tameh, which is Nolad Min HaTahar, is, Ve'ein tamei hanolad min hatar tamei. So we'll say, but ultimately that which is unkosher, born to something which is kosher, is not tamei to you. Ultimately, again, ela tahar. So we'll say, so therefore again, the first drasha over here that we have is as follows. The first drasha is, this you cannot eat. It's an interesting drasha from the animals which are ma'ale gera mafris parsa. And from that we learn that what? That you have certain animals that even if they are ma'ale gera and mafris parsa, they chew their cud and they have split hooves, you are still not permitted to eat them. We'll say, what would be a case like that? that ultimately again would be a case of a tahor shenolad min hatame. That even if the mother, right, even if the offspring has split hooves and chews its cud, if it is born to a non-kosher mother, you are not permitted to eat it. That's drasha number one. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon learns it out a little bit differently. He says, Gamal shnei pa'amim. So we'll say Rabbi Shimon says, it says Gamal twice. What does Gamal twice teach me? Echad Gamal hanolad min hagamla. One is to teach me ultimately again a camel that is born from a mother camel. Ve'echad Gamal hanolad min hapara. And one is to teach me about a camel that is born ultimately again from a par. And I will say, what do I learn from this? What do I learn from this? Ultimately again, one of them is going to be asr, one of them is going to be mutter. A camel born to a mother camel is going to be asr. A camel born to a par is going to be mutter. Interestingly enough, Rabbanon, so we'll say, so again, which is the same principle. Or as we'll say that when determining the kosher status of the animal, we look at the mother and ultimately again not the offspring. So even if the offspring is some type of anomaly and it doesn't have the kosher symbols, if you are born to a kosher mother, ultimately again you are kosher. Rabbanon, hi gamal my avdile. We'll say, sorry, I said that wrong. Excuse me, I said that wrong. Rabbi Shimon is disagreeing. And Rabbi Shimon Rabbosai is holding that halacha l'maisa gamal teaches me two different drashas. That halacha l'maisa, whether you are a gamal born to a gemala or whether you are a gamal born to a par, you are going to be Asr. Rabbi Shimon holds that halacha l'maisa, if the animal does not have its own simone kashrus, then ultimately again that animal will be asr. So we'll say what we have over here, what the Gemara is introducing to us, is a fundamental machlokes. The Rabbanan are holding based on the drasha that we just said before of the pasuk. Achazelo tochlu mima'aleger mafrisei parsa teaches me that what? That even if you have an animal that halacha l'maisa does not have these simanim, as long as it is born to a kosher mother, ultimately it is kosher. Rabbi Shimon comes along and says that is incorrect. Halacha l'maisa, if an animal, even if it's born to a kosher mother, but if it does not have this simanim of a kosher animal, that animal is not kosher unto itself. And where does Rabbi Shmuel learn this from? Torah says gamal twice. Why did he need gamal twice? One is to teach me a gamal that is born to a gemala, and one is to teach me a gamal which is born to a para. But say, what does it mean, a gamal that's born to a para? Very simply, the para gives birth, the animal has some type of anomaly, and the animal is born looking like a gemala, i.e., without proper kosher simanim. Rabbi Shimon will say, such an animal is treif. I've Rabbanon, hi gamal my avdile. Rabbi will say, what did the Rabbanon do with the double lashon of gamal? Chad le'eser atzmo, v'chad le'eser chelbo. One is ultimately there to aser, right, the gamal itself, and one is there to aser the milk of a gamal. But we're about to get into a very interesting sugya. So one gamal teaches me I can't eat the gamal itself. The other one teaches me that I can't what? I can't drink the milk of a gamal. Rabbi Shimon, le'eser chelbo minale. Rabbi say, where does Rabbi Shimon know that halacha l'maisa you can't drink the milk of a camel? Nafka le me es hagamal. He learns that from S, right? S is a ribui. The word S comes to include something else. So S hagamal comes to teach you that what? That halacha l'maisa I can't drink the milk of the gamal. V'Rabbanan, get ready for this. Esim lo darshi. The Rabbanan did not darshin es. Say, why not? The beautiful Gemara ki desanya Shimon ha'amsoni hayadorish es kol es ve'es Shabbatorah. Rabbi say Shimon ha'amsoni used to darshan all of the esin, right? He would darshan every single es in the Torah. But say this is the famous Gemara of Shimon ha'amsoni. See, he would darshan. Shimon HaAmsoni would darshan every single S. Every time he said S, he understood that it would come to include some type of ribui, some type of inclusion, something else. But once he came to the pasuk of, and you should fear Hashem your God, Piresh, he stopped darshaning Esin. Why, Rabbosai? Because what are you supposed to do with Es Hashem Elokei? What could that possibly come to include additionally? Therefore, what did he say? What did Shimon HaAmsoni say to himself? I must be wrong. My drashas are wrong. I should have never darshened all of the essen. Amlo Tamidav, Rebbe, kol essen shedarashta matei alem. So the Talmid said, Rebbe, what about all of the essen you darshened? Right? What about all of the drashas you made? What about all of those? Amar lahem, keshem shekibalti schar al hadrisha, kach ani mekabel schar al aprisha. So he said to them, my Talmidim, the same way I received schar for darshening all of the essen, I will go ahead and receive schar for stopping to darshan all of the essen. In other words, Rabbi will say what he said is, I tried. And the good news is, Rabbi will say, the good news is that in Yiddishkeit, you don't get reward for results, you get reward for effort. So Shimon Amsuni said, I tried. I thought these were good drashas. Obviously now I hit a brick wall. Es Hashem Elokech Atira. There can't be anything to include on top of that. And therefore, halacha l'maisa, I was wrong. And therefore, again, Baruch Hashem, we got the schar for trying, and now we'll get the schar for desisting. Ad sheba Rabbi Akiva v'limeid. Until Rabbi Akiva came along and he said, no, Shimon Amsuni, you're not wrong, you are right. What do you do with Es Hashem Elokech Atira? V'limeid Es Hashem Elokech Atira l'rabos, Talmidei Chachamim. Rabbi said, what does that come to include? It comes to include Torah scholars. The S of Es Hashem Elokech Atira means that the same way you should revere HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should revere Talmidei Chachamim as well. Rabbi Akiva saves the day, saves Shimon HaAmsuni. Incredible. Here we go. Taima dirabana migamal gamal. Rabbi Shimon me'es hagamal. So we'll say, so remember, according to the Rabbanon, they're learning out that the prohibition of milk, right? One comes to teach me that I can't drink from the gamal. Well, excuse me. One gamal comes to teach me I can't eat a gamal. Second gamal comes to teach me that what? I can't drink the milk of the gamal. Rabbi Shimon learns that from es hagamal, right? The extra word es comes to include that which is part of the gamal, i.e. the milk. Ha love hachi. You must listen to this. Without these drushes, I would have thought that what? Hava mina chilav de behema tamei shari. I might have thought that the milk of a non-kosher animal should be permitted. So the Gemara says, 1 second, but why would I think that? Why would that be different from that which we learned? Ha-tameim. We'll say when the pasuk uses lashon of ha-tameim, that is an inclusionary phrase. What does that come to include? Le'esar tziran v'rotvan v'kipashan. We'll say that comes to include what? The tzir, the brine, the rotav, the gravy, the kipa, the sediment. Which will say the extra name comes to include everything that is part of the non-kosher animal. Why would that not come to include milk as well? To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you why. Itztrich sakadait chamina hoil de behema tahora nami chidishu. But listen to this. I would have thought that since it will say, this is actually very interesting, where even the whole notion of drinking milk from a kosher animal is an incredible chiddush, as we're going to. We'll say, right? Even the notion of drinking milk from a behema Torah is a chiddush. Damar mar, dam nechar v'naseh chalav. This also, remember again, this we're going to discuss this in greater depth, but where does milk come from? So Chazal felt that milk is blood, right? That ultimately, again, it begins as blood in the body, and ultimately then the body processes it into milk. So also remember again, I'm not permitted to drink the dam, the blood of even a kosher animal, but yet there's a chiddush that tells you that what? I could drink the milk of a kosher animal. Since it's a chiddush to begin with, maybe that chiddush should apply to non-kosher animals as well. But an incredible havamina. Kamash mala no. Kamash are not like that, and therefore the chiddush Shabbos only applies to drinking the milk of kosher animals, does not apply to drinking the milk of non-kosher animals. To which the Gemara, so let's go back and talk about that for just a moment. We'll say that's fine according to the opinion that says that the way milk is made is that it starts as blood, and literally necha means literally the blood transforms, the blood congeals into milk. This, by the way, is a discussion by Nida. So we'll say, so the Gemara is discussing over here that a nursing woman does not menstruate, right? A nursing woman does not become a Nida. So why is that? So we'll say, so there's one opinion that says that's because what would have been menstrual blood transforms into milk. But there's another opinion that says, no, that's not how it works. The reason she doesn't menstruate, the Bosai, is why? Because birth is traumatic for the body. And that physical trauma disrupts the internal systems, and as a result, she does not become an Ida for up to 2 years. Which means the body becomes disjointed. There's a trauma to birth. And sometimes it could take up to 24 months ultimately for a body to return to normal. Then I will say ultimately again, so then what's the heter for milk? It's the so we'll say, listen to this. So here's the issue with milk. I would have thought like this. In general, I will say, anything that comes from a living animal is called what? It's called Iver Min HaChai. So we'll say, so why should I be permitted to drink milk? Milk is Iver Min HaChai. Right? Listen to this. There is nothing that comes from a living animal which is permitted. So we'll say, therefore, this milk, we'll say, this is $1 million question. Why is milk permitted? Right? So ultimately, milk which comes from a living animal should be Iver Min HaChai, V'shari. And yet, nevertheless, it is permitted. We don't know why yet, but it's permitted. So we'll say, so in other words, what the Gemara is suggesting, we'll say something amazing. Once milk is permitted, and the fact that milk is permitted is such an incredibly ridiculous chiddush, then why should it just be permitted ultimately again? Why should it just be permitted ultimately by a kosher animal? It should also be permitted by a non-kosher animal. Kamash Malan, therefore, what? Kamash Malan, that ultimately, again, halacha l'maisa, it is only permitted by a kosher animal, not permitted by a non-kosher animal. Kamash Malan, not. So we'll say, so therefore, again, that's the halacha. But ask the Gemara, but how do I know that? The chalav de behemot tahora minalam deshari. Rabbi say, from where do I know ultimately, again, that the chalav of a kosher animal is permitted? Ultimately, Rabbi say, if it's so, Rabbi say, now we're asking over here is, here's what I know. I know that it is an incredible chiddush that milk is mutter. Why do I know that it's an incredible chiddush? Because essentially it should be Iver Min HaChai. And I know now that chiddush only applies to milk that comes from kosher animals, not milk that comes from non-kosher animals. Okay, now the Gemara says, but tell me, how exactly do I know that milk is permitted? So the Gemara says, here we go. So I'll say, I would say maybe it's because the Torah prohibits basar b'chalav. Haluchudei shari. So I'll say the fact that the Torah prohibits basar b'chalav tells me that what? That milk by itself is permitted. Maybe not. Maybe what it means is like this. Basar b'chalav, Rabbi says, asar b'achila and b'hana. Maybe milk by itself is still asar b'achila, but mutter b'hana. Basar b'chalav b'hana nami asar. So we'll say maybe that's the chiluk. Basar b'chalav together is going to be asar b'achila, asar b'hana. Milk by itself will still be asar b'achila, but mutter b'hana. Ul Rabbi Shimon, we'll say first wide line vav amud beis. Ul Rabbi Shimon, d'shari b'hana mashkachas le al bishulei. It was Rabbi Shimon who says that basar b'chalav ultimately again is mutter ba'ana as well. He will say ultimately again that you'll still be aser for, it'll still get malchus ultimately again for the bishul of basar b'chalav. Ella midigali rachmana b'psuli hamokdash. Here we go, second wide line. Rather, the fact that the Torah says by psuli hamokdashin tizbach v'lo giza. Ultimately again, that it shall be offered up, but you shall not shear it. Basar v'lo chalav. Ultimately, again, you are permitted to go ahead and eat its meat, but you can't go ahead and milk it. Hadechulin shari. So the fact that the Torah said, tell me that the milk of psuli hamokdashin, an animal which is rendered unfit for the mizbeach, ultimately, again, you can eat its meat, but we can eat its meat, but you can't drink its milk. Tells me that what? That milk by chulin animals will be permitted. I ve'ima dechulin aser ba'achila v'shari ba'ana dekatshim ba'ana nami aser. Maybe not. Maybe say that milk of chulin will be aser ba'achila muter ba'ana. By katshim, it's not only aser ba'achila, but it's also muter ba'ana. Ela midechsiv. Rather, I will say the pasuk. Gemara goes to the pasuk from Mishlei. V'dei chalev izim lalachmecha lalechem beisecha v'chaim lenaarosecha. And ultimately, again, you will have the milk of goats to go ahead and sustain your home. So the fact that it's saying you could sustain your home with the milk of goats tells me that what? That milk is mutter. Maybe not. Maybe it's saying that the milk is only permitted ultimately for commerce purposes, but you can't eat it. Rather from the fact that the pasuk says, the Gemara quotes from Shmuel, "Ves aseres charitzei achalav ha'ela tavi l'sara elef ves achacha tifko l'shalom ves aruba samtikach." So we'll say this is by Shmuel Aleph. When Yishai tells David to bring his brother provisions, right, in the battlefield. So what does he tell them? Go ahead and bring them literally 10 cakes of milk. So the Gemara says, "V'dilma l'schora," but maybe again that's for commerce. Maybe it's not for consumption. Atu darka shalmacham l'schora. Who exactly are you doing business with on the battlefield? Right? You're gonna do business with the plishtim. You're gonna sell them the milk. So also I say obviously that must have been for consumption. By saying here it comes. Eretz zavas chalav udivash. We will say the fact that the pasuk calls Eretz Yisrael a land of milk and honey. Ve'ilo deshari mishtabach kra b'midi delo chazi. We will say, tell me, would the Torah praise Eretz Yisrael with a food item that was not fit for consumption? So the fact that the Torah calls Eretz Yisrael an Eretz zavas chalav udivash teaches me that what? Milk is permitted. Isn't this incredible? The whole notion we know that milk is permitted because Torah calls Eretz Yisrael Eretz Zavas Chalav Udvash. By Sema, one other possibility: Mehacha luchu shivru va'achlu uluchu shivru below kesef ubelow mechir yayin v'chalav. Ubelow mechir yayin v'chalav. So we'll say over here one other possibility. Torah quotes the pasuk from Yeshayahu that this is the high called sami lechu lamayim ve'asher lo kesef asher in lo kesef lechu shivru ve'echlu lechu shivru below kesef ubelow mechir yayin v'chalav. Go and buy without money wine and milk. Ultimately showing me that halacha l'maisa. Halach l'mayich and milk is present. So also we'll stop over here for today. But again, we end off with a very dramatic idea, a very important limud, that halach l'maysa, milk, will ultimately again be permitted for consumption, even though it's an incredible chiddush because it comes from a living animal. Normally anything that comes from a living animal is going to be usher. From where do we know that milk is going to be mutter? Although we have this pasuk from Yeshaya, again Abosai, it comes from Eretz Zavas Chalav Udevash. Ultimately, if Eretz Yisrael is praised with it, then it must be fit. So you need the first drasha to distinguish ultimately between kosher and non-kosher animals. That's what